Whatever the hour, whatever the film or the Eurovision drama, it's coffee time. This is Emmanuel calling from Coffee Break, where we take a break and discuss about films, Eurovision, and much more. Grab yourself a mug of hot tea or coffee, take a sip, and let's dive into this. Let's react to the Razzie Awards nominations. The Razzie Awards. These are some of the silliest, but still pretty fun to talk about and react to their stupidity. Every year they nominate the worst actors, actresses, films, directors, and sometimes, well, most of the time they do get it right. But a lot of the time they do some egregious, really tasteless things, such as nominating children. And I especially remember this recent incident where they nominated that poor young girl from Firestarter, that Firestarter movie. That wasn't very good. She wasn't really good in the film either. She was very stiff, very wooden. And I still remember that really lackluster sort of film, but still, it's just such of poor taste to nominate a young actress. Imagine the sort of mockery that she must have gone through at school for that really terrible site. So of course they withdrew their nomination and they apologized, I believe, but still it's just so just why? What's the point of it all? It's already really just not extremely pleasant to sort of celebrate the failure of artists, because all artists can fail and a lot of the time it's not even their fault. But on the one hand, I do get that it's, fun and interesting to sort of look back and sort of do like an equivalent to the Oscars, but for the worst films. I do get the fun of that, and of course I'm reacting to it, so I definitely get it. On the other hand, let's just not nominate, like for instance last year, where they not only did they nominate, but they also gave worst director to Francis Ford Coppola, who freaking sold his property and made his sort of dream project, that was Megalopolis, wasn't for everyone. It was anything but subtle, but it was not boring. I mean, that is an acid trip of a film, man, Megalopolis. And even if I do get the sort of vitriol, still, why give that to sort of a fading director who did accomplish something, and he put his heart and soul into it, and it's probably, well, definitely his final film, and he had shown it to his wife before she passed, and all of that just really rubs me the wrong way. So hopefully there are going to be such egregious nominations or wins this year, and I do hope, because I have made some sort of predictions, because you can really base on anything. There are no Razzie shortlists or anything, or precursors. It's just the Razzies. So I did make some predictions, and I am predicting Jared Leto for Tron Ares to get in, and really just please don't do it. It would be just such a lame nomination. He wasn't even the problem of that film. So that wasn't a really bad film either. It was perfectly fine and enjoyable. I had a fairly enjoyable time in the theater. So to nominate him would just be so lame, and I'm not going to get into any more of my predictions for the Razzie Awards nominations. I might do a video where I discuss all about my thoughts of who's going to win. Just for fun, and to sort of take a break in the middle of this really exciting awards race. And I might actually watch a lot of the films that are nominated here, or I'll try to, and I'll try not to have alcohol involved in that process. So let's just react to this, and I'll give you my thoughts later.
Dear Sir, Madam, we here at the Razzies are deeply concerned about the state of our cinematic experience as of late.
In some ways.
The concepts are rehashed, the dialogue feels scripted by my buddy Chat, and the performances are robotic. What the F? Is this a conspiracy to rob us of our escape to another world? Because the one we're in right now
Okay,
needs a mass exodus. Yours sincerely, the Razzies.
Please.
For example,
Don't give me that
nominees for the 46th
political
annual Razzie
backdrop.
Awards, which include, well, look at the actors. What were they thinking?
Oh no, screw them, screw them, screw the Razzies. Alright, Scott Eastwood, Alarum. Yes, that's my choice for the second worst film, I believe, of 2025.
And for goodness sake, the actresses.
Alright,
What went horribly wrong?
screw them for nominating Jared Leto. Brightheart, yes, probably. Yes, I also figured that. Natalie Portman is officially a Razzie nominee. Love, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they went all in the Lost World.
Oh, let alone the
Alright, some thoughts here. Screw them for nominating Jared Leto. I seriously felt that it was going to happen, and it did. Also, same goes for Natalie Portman. I haven't watched The Fountain of Youth or whatever, but to nominate just high caliber actors and Oscar winning actors, who both are, in some roles where they probably just sleepwalked, instead of nominating the actual worst performances like they did with The Weeknd, which I'm very glad they did. It's just lame. It's just really of poor taste. And why just make Natalie Portman an Razzie nominee? Why? How could that fix, as you're saying, the state of cinema and everything? I digress. I'm just way too observational about the Razzie Awards, but The Weeknd in perfectly okay with that. That was just a horrible, terrible, abysmal film. Hurry Up Tomorrow. I'm very happy about that getting in. I might have to now watch a few of these films like Love Hurts and Alarum and... Wait a second. Okay, so Rachel Zegler didn't get in for Snow White. She went unscathed. That was a prediction of mine as well. Let's just move on. Let's move on to picture. Alright, I'm predicting, like, off the top of my head, War of the Worlds, The Smurfs probably, probably Hurry Up Tomorrow, and Snow White as well, and gotta throw in a fifth one, Section 31, or is that going to be just a play for best worst ripoff or something?
pictures,
Let's just
and I had
see.
to watch them.
Snow White. Alright. By the way, Gal Gadot has that worst supporting actress Razzie already. Oh, okay, the Electric State. Yes, Section 31. Alright. And War of the Worlds.
And that's just 3 categories. Go to Razzies.com
Oh.
for the rest of the delicious
They're not even
choices.
going to give us the full nominations. Okay, so I did watch The Electric State when it came out on Netflix. It was not terrible. I wasn't much of a hater for that film. It was fairly forgettable, generic. Alright, let's just go to the Razzie. Alright, let's move on with worst remake, spin-off, or sequel. I Know What You Did Last Summer. That was sort of a guilty pleasure. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I expected that, didn't watch it. The Smurfs, that was expected. Snow White and War of the Worlds. So no, the Altonites, which I believe would have probably been nominated for sort of worst ripoff of Goodfellas or something. Huh. And let's see, worst supporting actress, we have Anna Chlumsky for Brightheart, sort of coattailing worst actress. Oh, Emma Horvath, The Strangers Chapter 2. Didn't see that. Scarlett Rose Stallone for Gunslinger Slingers. Oh my goodness, I have to now watch all of those films. Please. Casey Roll, Star Trek Section 31. Alright, so throwing in... Wait a second, where's Gal Gadot? Where is Gal Gadot for Snow White? That was sort of a lock, wasn't it? And Alarm. So I might have to watch Brightheart and Alarm and Star Trek Section 31. I haven't seen a single Star Trek episode or film. Let's just not kick off my journey through Star Trek with this Razzie nominated film. And then let's just go to worst supporting actor. All 7 artificial dwarves. Well, sure. Nicolas Cage, Gunslingers. That's a Nick Cage film, so I will definitely have to watch it now. And then Brightheart, alright, they went all in on that film. Stephen Dorff or whatever. Greg Kinnear, Off the Grid. I like Greg Kinnear. I like him. Did he star in Off the Grid? What's that? I might have to watch that too. And Alarm, Sylvester Stallone. So basically the Razzies watched 3 films and just decided to nominate all 3, which I don't blame them. Worst screen combo, All 7 Dwarfs. And then James Corden, Ariana Smurfs, Expected, Ice Cube and his Zoom camera. Some of these nominations are hilarious. Robert De Niro and Robert De Niro. There you go, the Altonites, finally. And then The Weeknd and his Colossal Ego. Oh my goodness, that's so... Please let that win. Because that was literally the worst aspect of Hurry Up Tomorrow. And then worst director, Ridley, War of the Worlds, Expected and Deserved. Star Trek Section 31, haven't seen that. The Russo Brothers, Electric State. Well, it was fairly generic and sort of listless, the directing in that film. So yes, I kind of sort of agree with that. Trey Edward Schultz, Hurry Up Tomorrow. Nah, I don't really agree with that because Hurry Up Tomorrow was a truly god-awful film. But Trey Edward Schultz was just not the problem with it because he's a very competent filmmaker. I mean, I've seen It Comes at Night, which is an excellent horror film, sort of a thinking man's horror film. I really dug that. And his directing Hurry Up Tomorrow just was sort of a clear indication of a mismatch between him and whatever The Weeknd was up to with that vanity project sort of train wreck of a film. So I just would not blame that failure on Trey Edward Schultz. And then Mark Webb for Snow White. Sure, haven't seen. Oh, I also need to see Snow White now, which I do want to. But and then worst screenplay, The Electric State, worst adapted screenplay. Can you imagine splitting up the screenplay categories? The Electric State, sure, because that was I've heard that the film in which it is based on, it was sort of more of had more depth to it, and The Electric State is just a Chris Pratt sort of forgettable action fast food popcorn film. And then Hurry Up Tomorrow was even there. Did that film have a script? That was, oh my goodness. And then Snow White, Star Trek. They also really hated Star Trek Section 31. I won't watch that for my own mental well-being. And then War of the Worlds, also terrible, atrocious screenplay. So yes, I'm overall, not very happy with the nominees. I mean, they did nominate Stanley Kubrick a few decades back for The Shining. So basically, even if you're a Razzie nominated director, you were at least nominated in the same category, in the same awards show as Stanley Kubrick. You can just claim that now. Richly can blame that and claim that. And Trey Edward Schultz and Mark Webb, the director of both Amazing Spider-Man films and 500 Days of Summer, and give me another one. Gifted. That was a decent film. He's nominated in the same category as Stanley Kubrick, so he must be in the same sort of level, right? No, I'm just kidding. Mark Webb and Trey Edward Schultz, and arguably the Russo brothers, just did not belong in this silly show. But man, that was Stanley Kubrick for The Shining. Worst director. Can you imagine? Their directing in that film is so freaking bonkers extraordinary. So it just goes to show that perhaps some films where just people didn't get it then. So perhaps we're just not getting War of the Worlds, whatever mastery and virtuosity Richly is putting in that in that film. I'm just joking, of course. That was a terrible, terrible film all around. And that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow me on multiple social media platforms, including Letterboxd, for more film-related content, and the Awards Expert app for real-time Oscar predictions. The links are in the description. Can't wait for more coffee breaks. And until next time, pour yourself a fresh one.